Good evening. Welcome. I hope all of you are doing well today. I think it's the first day most of the stuff in my backyard hasn't tried to blow away in quite a while. So tonight I wanted to do two things. I wanted to read a prayer, a blessing for all of us, and also in today's Celtic daily prayer, there's an interesting reflection that I wanted to share with us, and it's about the evidence of the resurrection. I think this person that put it together was an attorney, which gives it an interesting tone. And something that perhaps we can think about in the next day or so. The other thing that I would like to propose to the group here is we've been trying to find ways of increasing your chances, everyone's chances to an opportunity to participate in prayer and in fellowship and so on and so on. One of the comments, I should say, from our survey recently is that people wanted to have a chance to say goodnight at the end of the service, which I think is telling that we want to communicate with each other in this time of separation. So to that end, I'd like to try an experiment. Facebook Live is wonderful, but it's a one-way conversation. And what I've been thinking of doing is having a Zoom meeting for all of us on Thursday night instead of my evening Compline, and something low-key. I want to call it Deacon's Cafe, where I can have a cup of coffee with some of my friends. We can talk about the things that are on our hearts that day. We can have... Ideally, I'd like it to become a lay ministry as well, where lay people and clergy can lead prayer, can offer prayer. In these times, there are things that we should be thankful for, things that we need intercession for. So an opportunity for you and for me to share together, to check in with each other and pray with each other. And then at the end of that period, for however long that takes, evening Celtic Compline. It's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. If people like it, we'll continue it. If not, we'll go back to Facebook Live. Anyway, to that end, I want to say welcome to you all. I am glad that you're joining me today so that we can continue being in contact. And let us pray. We're going to need glasses today. May the Father of life pour out his grace on you. May you feel his hand in everything that you do, and be strengthened by the things he brings you through. This prayer is for you. May the Son of God be Lord in all your ways. May he shepherd you the length of all your days. And in his heart, may he receive the praise. This is my prayer for you. And despite how simple it may sound, I pray that his grace will abound and motivate everything you do. And may the fullness of his love be shared through you. May his Spirit comfort you and make you strong. May his discipline be gentle when you are wrong. And in your heart, may he give you a song. This is my prayer for you. May Jesus be Lord of all in our ways. May he shepherd you through the length of all your days. And in your heart, may we receive the praise. And in my prayer, this is my prayer for you, my prayer for you. And a reflection on the evidence of the resurrection. The evidence for the resurrection is that Jesus was killed by crucifixion, was stabbed with a spear. He was wrapped in bandage containing 25 pounds of spices. He was placed in a tomb. A huge rock was rolled in front of the entrance, according to one ancient account, so big that 12 men had to move it. And the tomb was guarded by highly disciplined soldiers. Yet 3 days later, the tomb was discovered empty, and eyewitnesses proclaimed to their death that Jesus had appeared to them. Who had a motivation to steal the body? The disciples weren't about to conceal it so that they could be tortured to death for lying about it. The Jewish and the Roman leaders would have loved to have paraded the body up and down the main streets of Jerusalem. Certainly they would have instantly killed this budding religion that they had spent so much time trying to squash. But what happened is, over a period of 40 days, Jesus appeared alive 12 different times to more than 512 people. To skeptics like Thomas and James, and sometimes to groups, and sometimes to individuals. Sometimes indoors, sometimes outdoors, in broad daylight. He talked with people and even ate with them. Several years later, when the Apostle Paul mentioned that there had been eyewitnesses to the resurrection, he noted that many of them were still alive, as if to say to first century doubters, go, confirm it with them if you don't believe me. In fact, if you were to call to the witness stand every person who actually saw the resurrection or the resurrected Jesus, you would have a cross-examine each one of them for only 15 minutes. And if you did this around the clock without any breaks, you would be listening to firsthand testimony for more than 5 solid days. I never really looked at it that way. An interesting thing to ponder, the evidence of the resurrection. We kind of take it for granted, but I could see how first century people would have had their doubts. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you have any thoughts or comments about when we can, what we can do in that Deacon's Cafe, share a cup of coffee, share some conversation, share some prayer, definitely share love and support. We need to work out some details with setting up Zoom and so on and so on. So it may not happen this Thursday, but if it's something that you think is a good idea, drop me a note, drop me a Facebook message or an email. Let me know what we can add to it to make it more personal to you. That's what this is all about, is finding a way for us to communicate, to have fellowship, to pray together. prayer is much more stronger, I believe, when we're all together praying as the family that we are. Thank you. I'll leave the Facebook Live open for a minute or two if you all want to say goodnight to each other. I bid you farewell. God bless you and God keep you. I'll have to check that out. Thanks, Deborah. Good suggestion.